videos, etc. And HTML is used in pretty much like every single website that you go to, and it can vary in how complex it is, and it differs from CSS because it's more of a structure than actual style.
So yeah, you would say it's more like however you want your website to be, it's the formatting instance of that. I'll go to the next one.
Yeah. So the premise of how we code in HTML is you use tags essentially. So you start with a start tag and you put your content inside of it, and then you have that end tag, which is denoted by the I think it's a backslash. So in this example that we have this sort of header tag, which is h1, and then you put the text in, and then you close it with that closer. So you can see that it prints out this, on the right, it prints out this text, my first heading. And then we have a paragraph tag, which is indicated by the P, and it, my first paragraph. There we go.
Yeah, and for this, it's really important. So for HTML, it is important for these like when we say these tags, there's specific tags, and as we'll probably go in the next slide here, these specific tags actually indicate what it's supposed to happen. As you see in this like really simple example, H1 as a header, it makes the font and size automatically bigger, and then paragraph a lot smaller. So the tags in this instance in HTML are very important, as we'll probably get into in a second. All right, I'll go to the next one.
Okay, so now we will start with some simple code. So first you want to start off your entire code with the HTML tag, and HTML tags help indicate that this code is an HTML file. You also change the file to an HTML file, but that's for later. So inside of an HTML, inside of the HTML tags, you have a head and a body. It's just how we structure it. Essentially, it's not much difference, but usually in the head, you want to put the title of your web page. So in this example, inside of this these head tags, we have the title tags, which put any text into your tab. As you see in the right, there's the Google tab, and I have the words HackNC in it. So, and then we organize basically you'll do everything mostly in the body, because that's the entire essence of the website. So we have the previous example we showed you with the my first heading, my first paragraph, and we put that all into the body so it can display in the body.
All right, you want me to go to the next one?
Yeah.
All right,
so there are many tags in HTML, and they do many different things. For starters, these are a few that you can play with, and you can definitely look this up. There's tons of useful websites that tell you all these different tags. So first of it, this first tag is the HTML tag, indicates that this file is an HTML file. That's good. And then we have the head and the body. Body, you can put different H1 headers inside of it, and you can put paragraphs, anything. Then we have that title tag, just basically changing the tab. Now we're getting more into the text and fonts. So we have the B tag. If you wrap that around some content, like some text, it will bolden it. And it goes for the same with I tags, U tags. I tags will italicize your text, and U tags will underline your text. We have additional capabilities of sort of lists, like listing things in order. So yeah, li tags, and the OL tags will wrap around the li tags because OL means ordered list. It will set this list in order. This is all pretty complicated stuff, but it's not we'll show you examples later.
And by like, feel free, anyone in this call, like, and watching this presentation, if you have any questions, please just like, you can even interrupt us, like just interrupt and just ask a question is when it comes into mind. I'll go to the next tab.
Wait, just the last three.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So we have the center tag. Basically, it centers anything you put inside of it. Then you have images. You can link images into your website. And we'll give you an example later on. And linking, you can hyperlink any website, etc.
Yeah, and you'll see this later on. There's an example in the actual like website we made.
Yeah, this is just to show you the capabilities of what HTML can do. And there's way more than this. This is just the
tip of the iceberg.
Very little, yes. So, okay, so we will add an additional capability of this website that we had previously. So we still have the same title. We have that H1 and P tags, which show like the text, but now we want to add an image. So right underneath the P tag, we have the image tag, img, and this sort of formatting does not require a closure tab. It's in itself a closure tab, right? So you can do many things to instantiate and edit this whatever image you want, but we're just going to place an image into our website. So in my files, I did put a image of an emoji into it, and that its file path is called image.png, and I put that in quotations, and you have to put it in quotations. And basically you set the source, which is src, and you set that equal to the destination.
Yeah, and the code will basically find what it's looking for in your path.
Yeah, if it's not specific enough, it probably will not find it. So you might need to find a more specific destination from your computer.
And also, if you don't mention like the how you format this, like H1P image, like Ernest, does it really matter like what if it's in sequence or not? Like what is it?
Like it's all conventions, right? So you can have the header underneath the paragraph or whatever, but the purpose of HTML is to just put it all into nice structure, basically.
All right, awesome, sweet. And I've had this problem before with the image sourcing. Oh, sweet, yeah.
Question from Alan Dang. Can I adjust image size and location? So yes, you can change the image size. Khan, do you want to explain?
Yes, you can actually, I'll explain. Like for the image size and location, yes, you can do that, and you can do that. A lot of that, like as you'll see later on, a lot of the adjusting of the things, like what we said at the start, the HTML is more like, oh, we put things here, 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 here. Okay, that's cool. But HTML was never designed for like actual design purposes and style. So if you move that over to CSS, the language, and link it, you'll see it later on. That's where you can adjust the image size and location of it, and also the functionalities of it. Like if you want the button to like for like a home button, and you press the home and it'll take you to the home page. Like that stuff is more or less a mix of, would be like the functionality would be HTML, but like the styling and stuff would be in CSS, if that makes any sense. All right, and do you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here. So this is basically me. All right. So as I was saying, so what's the point in CSS? Why would that be the case? So CSS stands for this cascading style sheets. Its purpose is basically just to style these markup languages like HTML. There are other markup languages out there, but honestly, like they really don't matter. HTML is one of the main, like probably the main language for this case. And it's like, and if the bottom sentence here, like the CSS basically brings the HTML to life. You can choose the fonts, colors, margins, positioning, like one of the questions asked, animating interactions, and a lot more. So this is some simple code. I know it seems like that's a lot at the start. So as we had before, like what Ernest had, like let's say like we have a file name called index.html. This is where we would start from on the right side. And we have the header, we have the title as a page title, and then how we link the actual process of this would be link like and then the relation to it would be like the style sheet. Like the name of that doesn't really matter, but the reference to where you're getting this from, that's important. You need to actually, as we can see here, example.css, it's basically referencing the file name on the left side. So linking those two together, it knows what to reference. And if we keep going down further in the body, there's like a class, a division, like we didn't talk about this in case, but there's classes you can have to separate. You can, if you can imagine it, it encapsulates certain parts of the website. So like that image that he put in there, that could be a class. So you could put that and some other text as one class and individual as like foo for this instance. And how you would address that would be on the left side with CSS dot foo, and then you basically just put in like what you want in the width. That'll be 100%, the color to be whatever we want, and then for if we keep going lower for the first header and the paragraph, you can just address each of those by their name, and you can just change the like color to white, text align center. A lot of the CSS language is very English and very much pseudocode, I like to say, because it just makes like you can, anyone that doesn't know CSS would probably can still understand it just based off reading it. Any questions on that? Or I think it's a little a little hard for it's a little self-explanatory. All right, let's move forward. All right, so one of the things that we can talk about is JavaScript. So if you do look up image like for websites and stuff, it's HTML, CSS, and you always get this keyword JavaScript. What is JavaScript? It's another programming language that allows more of like, it's more of like the actions. So for JavaScript in this instance, like common uses for this would be image manipulation, validation, dynamic changes for the content. So if you want to make a picture bigger by clicking on it, it's most likely JavaScript that's going to be doing that, or going to another website, or like he was saying, like the dynamic changing. A lot of that stuff is JavaScript, and we'll see a lot more of that in the code. There's actually one line in the code we have that actually uses JavaScript. You guys will see it later. And then I wanted to show you guys, because this is like, if you guys are newer to this language, like for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, a lot of these places, like I personally didn't like, I knew a little bit of it since for school, but I didn't know like a lot of it, but now I had to learn for this project. And a lot of this taught me was W3 Schools is a good one for HTML, Code Academy for HTML, and they both also have for CSS. And then if you guys do, like, of course, I feel like YouTube's the best web resource for this would be like Website Learners, the channel website, or Danny. Danny's a really funny channel for that, for CSS and HTML and overall. So I'm gonna move on, and that's basically it for our presentation part, and we'll move over to the actual coding part and show you guys the actual website, which should be right here. Okay. Ernest, you here? I think he's gone. Oh, okay. So as we can see here, if we can always keep going back to these slides, like the header, like the title here is HackNC. We could see for mine it would be Nyman Trips for my last name, and this would be our website. As we can see here, it looks like a nice website. It's go book your trip today. We get to go to I believe this is the Maldives. So through this, we have the home page, the dining room, services. There is a bug in this code. If anyone can tell me what it is, I actually don't know it, but for some reason, when I do hover over this, it moves the text down, and I have no clue why it shouldn't. But that's another thing I have to figure out. But other than that, these things through JavaScript, and let's move over. So this is the general website. Right now, as of now, I don't have these buttons working at all. I can click them, but on it, I just have the design purposes. Let me move the screen sharing over to the actual program itself to actually code something like this, being able to actually hover over a button, having it fill in with the colors as well as the underlying thing. Let me just change it. Teacher screen. All right, and then Ernest, if you want to kick in for the HTML part of it, if you want. Here. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Just want to make sure. Ernest, are you able to see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, sweet. How this goes, a lot of this, as you can see, it's actually very similar to our simple like sample code, because HTML, honestly, because it's such a simple website, it's not very like, it's not very complex. It's very similar to the thing. So we have the linking process here that we did as this style.css is right here. We have the head, the body thing, and then this is where it starts getting it different, like more complicated. I grouped these up into like the class of a banner for the background. So everything that's in the website itself is in the class of this banner, as you can see in the division here. And then I believe the closing tab should be somewhere. It's like this one. Nope, it's down, farther down, around here, down lower. So everything's encapsulated in this background image. So everything will be in front of it. A lot of the thing, and then as you guys see here, I probably should just share my screen, because then I can switch back and forth between the website. So as you guys can see here, the navigation bar here allows for just for the navigation bar encapsulation. So like, for instance, right here, all this code that would go into here is actually introduced through this navigation bar class. And in the class banner, we can go to style CSS, because that's where we actually adjust all this stuff. The banner, we have the width, the height, as in the 100%, and we change that. And then we add the colored layer over it. So that's why you guys get to see like this little, like, it's not exactly just like a picture. It's more like there's like a gradient to it. Changing the RGB values, as well as uploading this URL. I have it as background.jpg. You also can do it as a file path, but it's also, you can just simply do it as like a picture. And you can address, as we saw in the example code, by addressing these classes, you just do dot the class name, and then just like any other programming language, you put the curly brace, and then you add the code in here. So I'm guessing many of you can understand like what all this is actually just doing: the background position, the background size, background image. And then we go to the nav bar, just like I was talking about. This connects with all the code that comes into here that's actually in this division. Would be all this design would be into the nav bar. And then like, it was like the width, the margin, the padding. As you can see, like, it's not very complicated at all. Aligning the centers with this CSS, you're able to actually just be able to style it however you want. Some of the cool features you can actually do that I like to do in my case, like if I'm ever making another website, I've made like two websites. One was for school, and I actually learned this from that. Is being able to like hover. So like, there's actually these features that you can do. It's like after you touch the nav bar, like some of the navigation bar, or you hover over it, it actually can detect if the cursor is actually hovering on top of the class, the items that you are in the class, and it'll perform an action. So as you can see here, before the let me see, the style, the padding and the stuff, it's 0. Like the width right here is after is 0. And then once you hover over it, it's actually 100%. So we see and then we also have the transition, which is 0.5 seconds. We see it moving from 0 width to full 100% width within that 0.5 seconds. And there's other styling stuff such as relating the question, one of the questions to this actual the website, like the logo for this instance. Like you asked, like, can we change like the where it is and how this is the UNC logo right here? It's the same as what Ernest had in his picture, except I put that into, like, I changed the width of it and put it in the where, and I put it in a specific location where it's supposed to be, like in the top left, along with the navigation bar. So as we see here, nav bar image, like here, encapsulated in the navigation bar, and aligned it so it was straight along in one line, in one list, if we could say. That's not. Let's see, and then everything else you can basically. I didn't have to. You don't have to necessarily do this. If I wanted to, I could just H1 paragraph. BR is break, so it's the same thing as you'd break a format to go to the next line. I don't have to do this division class. I wouldn't have to. I could just do this. However, addressing it in CSS, it makes it so much easier to address all this into one thing where I can just go into CSS and go, okay, cool. I can just change the width, change the position, change the top, all in one little box of code, and it'll change all this to however you want it. So it makes your life basically a lot easier. Let's see, is there any questions whatsoever, anything whatsoever? I know I'm going through this a little fast, and I'm just like going through tabs and stuff. But I'm guessing you guys are good, or am I going too fast and I need to explain some stuff? You could also write in the chat if you don't feel comfortable talking. I feel free to do whatever. Ernest, you think we're good? Man, this
You go to the HTML file.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted? I was gonna basically finish up with a little bit of thing. Oh, can I put the source code on Discord? Yes, I can put the source code in Discord. I can do that afterwards. I do not have I don't have it all set up yet, but does that YouTube link work? Yes, it does. I can, and I'll show you right here in a second, actually. I'll go through the last little bit, and then I'll go up for questions about this. So going through, last but not least, you can, as you can see on the website here, I have this watch more for visit our YouTube channel, and I go through, and you make a type, like making a type, like the button, and this is the only line of JavaScript right here. This right here actually gets the JavaScript, and as you can see here, it's all it basically does something with the button, and this button interact, and on the click, I can actually press it, and it'll take me to a link whatever link I put. It basically can go in any link I put into, and I decided to put in a Rickroll. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I know I'm funny. I know, so that's what I decided to put instead of any other website. So that's, if we ever made a domain, which if I want to explain, making a domain would be like putting it out for everyone to this is local. So it'll only run on my computer because I have the files here. I have everything. The next step in this process would probably be to put these home, room, dining, services to go to these other pages to present more information. And after that, you would probably make a domain, which you can have it so like these Nyman trips would be for everyone to see. And you can go to YouTube, go to Google and search up Nyman trips, and then click on that, and you can see this whole thing for yourself. But yeah, that's in general. And I know I did go through a little fast. Is there any questions for me to answer? Let me see.
I think there's one more in the chat. Someone asked, how are you running the code locally?
So how am I running the code locally? Because I can't, how do I explain? I'm running this code because a lot of these files are on my computer, and I'm running this through certain files, such as like this, when we're going through like the images I use, the images, the files, everything that I'm using right now is on my computer. Like if I reference something from like somewhere else, I can't do, like if you had this exact same code, if I literally just gave you this exact same code, it wouldn't work due to the fact that you don't have, let's say, like logo.png as the source file. You might have something named like that, and it will use it, but it won't use in this instance, it won't use the UNC logo.
Yeah. And to add to that, Khan puts it as just logo. You can see it just logo.png. That just means it's within the same folder of the index.html, so it can easily find that file. But if you're putting your images into like a separate picture folder, you're gonna have to put that file address into your code. Yeah.
I think I meant like with my question, I meant like how are you using like Node, like a Node package to like web sync to run your code?
No, I'm not using it. No, I'm not using that. No, I'm not.
Like how did you get like your HTML to like appear in your Chrome browser basically?
How to do that? I basically just made a notebook, and I just made an HTML file, and I edited the HTML file within Atom, my IDE here. I basically like here. This is the folder I have. It's called just web page. I basically, that's all. I went into a notepad, and all I'm doing is just changing basically just editing it within the IDE. That's about it.
Also,
Okay,
oh yeah. Also, a commoner's way to do it, which I do. I just open up a text document, right?
Yeah.
And I just put the code in, save as, and then you'll get prompt to like whatever file you want to save it in. You just type the name, I don't know, in it, like HTML code, and then you do .html, which sets it to an HTML file, basically. And then you save it. And then it will just automatically prompt as like a clickable, presentable thing. And
Yeah,
that's just like a really easy way. But
it's just,
yeah.
yeah, that would be the commoner's way. My
that makes
way
a
would
lot
be
of
the
sense. Thank you.
my way would be like the semi-professional, using it like an IDE, and then but like a lot of people could use this. And then I'm basically as clueless as you guys, unless you guys are very like an HTML or CSS masters, which I would love for your comments, because because I'm honestly a beginner, I would say, in this doing this, because I just recently started learning how to do HTML and CSS. So do any of you know, does anyone like pretty good with HTML and CSS? I'm actually curious if anyone is in the chat. If you are, I would love your thoughts. I know Serena's like a god, but huh. So no, has anyone had any experience with us, and has any experience with HTML or CSS whatsoever, or JavaScript? Another thing would be JavaScript as well, like the blocks or anything like we did. Anyone? Oh, am I like, has everyone like ever used HTML or CSS before, or like at all? Mainly a bit. Awesome. I took a class a long ago. Okay. Depends on where you're at. Okay. I'm just using it. I'm just like, are you familiar with it whatsoever? Okay, sweet. Okay, so it seems like a couple of you have like a little bit of experience with HTML. Okay, sweet. Awesome. How long did it take me to make my website? It basically, I would say, because I was learning and making it at the same time and like customizing it like how I want it. I'm gonna have to say it took me probably with learning and everything, I probably took me around like 2 hours just to understand as well. The thing that took the longest, I believe, would probably be like the let's see, what took me the longest was probably the button, like not just a button, like the actual loading, like this little animation here. I'm pretty sure I'm not also sharing my screen. Let me see. All right. The longest probably took me was this, like this animation right here, this little animations that you can see on the bottom right here underneath. Those probably took me the longest to understand. Other than that, it was mainly just like formatting and getting everything down and adjusting. So like whenever you get, it's like some of the positions in like auto, like you see how it like moves through. So that's all. I think that's the longest. I think that's what it took about 2 hours or such. And it was really fun. I used like YouTube, and I like those links I put in there was like the things I used. And honestly, I was debating before I even got here to make all these buttons kind of just Rickroll. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wanted to do every single button to do that, but I just left it to one. Is there
You
any
know
comments you
any
want to make? Oh
is there
yeah,
any way you can share the code?
the code. Yeah. Yeah, I could probably. Serena, do you want me to, like, how would I be able to? Should I just upload it to like GitHub or like?
I think you should include all the pictures and stuff too into like some file, into the
Yeah.
folder, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can help you after the workshop and I'll get up to GitHub and we'll be able to post that link to the Discord so you guys can clone it on your own and take a look at it.
Yeah. And if I can also post the slides if anyone wants to use the slides as a simple template as well. I can do that. So people can actually take that as for thing. And then you guys can also take my website and just play around with it, which would be cool. I would love to see what you guys would do with the actual website. I can grab the link right here. I can see here. Like here, so that should work for you, all of you. You can go in and copy it over, and then you guys can use it however you'd like. So hopefully that was it. I mean, I think I covered most of the bases. I think one of the things I could go over a little bit was like the span, like these, like basically designing for the button and such, but like the general concepts are basically the same as like the headers, like the navigation bar, where once I hover over it, it basically just goes to 100%, and I change like the locations and the transition times and how they are how they're located based off like the website and how big the window is. But other than that, if anyone has any questions, or Serena, you think we should include something, I think we're about done. Or Ernest, if you want to include something as well. Sorry.
No, I think that's it.
I think that's it. Any other questions? Anything, comments, concerns, fears, anxieties, as my teacher like to ask? All right, sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. I know it was a little bit of a hectic situation. It is a simple program, so I hope, and I'll try to see if we can get this code up for you guys to play around with. And you guys have like 20 minutes early from what it's supposed to. So I hope you guys enjoyed.